What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Hippo Supercoach. And tonight, or this morning, we have our round 6 review. So scored the 1992 top 8%, which I think is about what I expected, and sitting at 2,976 overall. So ranked in the top 2% overall, so making a nice push. But yeah, this week was a rough one for more than a couple reasons, but I think it was pretty rough for most people, as I won 14 out of my 16 leagues. Whoever beat me, well done. But yeah, it was a tricky one this week. We got a lot of things to get through, so yeah, get some popcorn out, yeah, whatever you want to snack on to a long video. This go grab it right now and pause the video, because yeah, I think we're in for a pretty big one. It's been what, about 15 hours, maybe a bit less, maybe like 12 hours since, no, not even that. It's probably been about 8 hours since lockouts opened. So we've got a pretty accurate most traded out and most traded in. So it doesn't surprise me Sam Walsh is the most traded in, or not in my team anyway. Easily the best value premium at the moment. Even, you know, his break even's 33, so he's even going to make a bit of money short term, so that's potential cash play there. I don't think it'll be a problem though. I think he's going to be a top 8 or around the mark. Anyway, we'll get into him. Let's go through the team. So Harry Sheasel, 644k, gave me a 110. Pretty happy considering copped a lot of attention from Finn McGuinness. It wasn't a super hard tag, but it was still enough to bother him. It didn't last the whole game, which is handy, but yeah, so happy to take a 110 anytime someone gets tagged. And it's similar to Merritt. So I know Merritt played a lot of half forward, but he did get tagged, and I think he went half forward because of the tag. So keep that in mind when you're worrying about him. I personally am not worried about him whatsoever. Essendon know how good of a midfielder he is. His best position is clearly in the midfield, so don't stress about him. But yeah, so Sheasel I'm pretty happy with, and probably still going to be D1. Luke Ryan, a bit of a down game, 89, so it's annoying, but you know, at the end of the day, he's still averaging 128, so can't really complain. And pretty much a lock for a top 6 defender, you would have to say. Then we had Nick Dacos, 133, so really happy with him. I didn't see any of the game, but apparently he started off pretty average and then came through in the second half for us, so happy with that. I think if you don't have him, or if you traded him out and you want to get him back in, it's probably sooner rather than later. He's a big game player. He's a big game player. And yeah, I think against Essendon, he's going to go nuts. So yeah, probably wants an Anzac Day medal in his repertoire. Did he get one last year? I think he did get one last year, so he might want a second one. But yeah, I expect Nick Dacos. You know, at the end of the day, it's Nick Dacos. So he's clearly proven that he can score well for a long period of time. Hasn't quite hit his straps yet, but who knows, maybe this is the game where he really starts to build into some nice form that we saw last year early on. So yeah, I'd probably jump on sooner rather than later if you're not owning Nick Dacos at the moment. Elliot Yeo, 112. So Tom on Grant is really pissing me off because that's what's really holding him back. At the end of the day, he's probably going to be 600k this week. Break even of 59, so yeah, probably 600. So happy with that. 115 average, you know, couldn't have asked for much more there. Like, that is just mental, especially considering how low his time on ground is. I think that's a real win for anyone that started him. So pretty lucky, to be honest. He wasn't super on my radar, but he was enough to the point where I did pick him, so I'll take it. And you know, if I didn't trade George Hewitt out, I'd be in such a good position. I traded George Hewitt out for Tom Green. Let's have a look what fucking squarehead Hewitt's gone in the last 5 weeks. So I traded, funnily enough, I held him through his buy as well. So I got a 76 from him. Then I held him to the buy. He's gone 124, 103, 105, and 110. Bang. That's what I should have done, or I should do now. So that's frustrating anyway. We won't think about that. Zach Williams, what's his break even looking like? 62. I think he can go. He's just so injury prone. It's unfortunate because we saw him building into some nice form last week and the week before. Look, he wasn't doing that good, to be honest, even before he got injured. But this does hurt. And I thought I thought Sard and all that being out would mean he would be better, but it seemed like he was playing lockdown on Toby Green, which I didn't like at all. I thought they would bring in Sincotta and he would be playing lockdown, or maybe even Jordan Boyd playing lockdown. I think Boyd at times went to Green, but it seemed like Williams was on Green for the majority of what I saw anyway. I didn't watch it super closely, so I could be wrong, but I think that's how it went. So yeah, I think you can comfortably trade him out. If he plays this week, maybe reconsider if you can. He's going to need a couple of good games to reset that cash gen, but yeah, I think now's probably the time. General rule of thumb, when their break even meets their average, it's probably a good time to get rid of them. So what, 62 and 67, practically caught up. And then Closey 75, so still good score. At the end of the day, we can't expect tons from this guy every week. 75 in a smashing, really happy with that. So he will come onto my field, just so it looks a bit nicer. And I think Zach Reed will be back around 8 to 9, so yeah, a couple of weeks. So hopefully he can make us some money because, yeah, he'll need a couple of games as well to reset that cash gen after that 15th. Break even is 34, so there you go. Yep, we will need a couple of good games. Nick Caulfield didn't play, obviously. Zach Merritt. So, like I said, I'm not worried about him. It is annoying. I paid top dollar for him. It's probably going to be cheap for a lot of people. Give me one sec, I have to sneeze. Yeah, so people are going to get him a bit cheaper, I would assume. Break even 156. I mean, he could hit it, but probably comes down a little bit for those that don't have him. Yeah, did not expect Adelaide to tag him, if I'm being honest. Like, that's the last thing I expected. And then Zach Butters 127, so happy with that. Bont 125, took the VC, obviously, and I'm glad I did because I would have gone Merit otherwise. Steel 84, I don't think it's the end of the world. It's annoying, but in a smacking, or not smacking, but in a, was it a smacking? Yeah, it was, fuck. I forgot how big of a blowout that game was. I knew in terms of the Supercoach scores it was a smacking, but yeah, wow, okay. Yeah, I don't think Steel is to be worried about. Very short break they had, St Kilda, but yeah, that just is what it is. Tom Green 82. So this one is pissing me off no end. I hate watching this guy play. I think for him to come out and put himself number one of that draft in the redraft, fucking wake up to yourself, you ranger. You're not even close. Rao is way better. Sarong is way better. This guy, he beat down on some shit teams early, and people like me fell for the fucking trap. Collingwood, they were shit at that time. North and West Coast. And since then, I traded him in for a 109, a 72, and an 82. Fuck you, Ranger. You're a fraud. I'm not happy. I'm really not happy about this, and I'm pissed off that I brought him in. I don't even know if he's going to be top 8. I hope he proves me wrong. I really do. When I found out he was playing AFL Fantasy and sweating it for himself, and he had himself in his team, I was like, this guy's a lock. He's going to stat pad. He's just fucking shit. He is a downhill skier, as they call, where they just beat down on the bad teams, and against decent teams, he is fucking nowhere to be seen. So I hate you, Tom Green. I wish you could get out of my team, but I've got bigger problems, so you will be staying. Nick Martin 114, another good game from him. Kicked a great goal at the end there. Should have got more points for it. I think he only went up like normal points, but it was like probably a game-winning goal in the end. So yeah, 114, still take that, obviously. I think he'll be a top 6 defender. Matt Crouch didn't play, obviously, so I took Hugo Garcia's score, 69, pretty solid. Break even of minus 45, so got a bit lucky going early on him, obviously. I really did like his game in, last week? Not round 6, but round 5, I liked his game. I know he was a sub, so he didn't score much, but from what we saw when he came on, thought he really passed the eye test quite well. So yeah, I think St Kilda like him. That's another reason I went early on him. I heard Ross Lyon talking about him. They said like they're pretty keen on the kid. I don't think Zach Jones is going to crack into that team. He looked pretty average. So yeah, I think Garcia's job security is not the best, but it's good enough, I think. And yeah, I would probably bring him in if he's named this week, if you don't have him. Darcy Wilson 69, whatever. Carroll 26, whatever. What's Wilson's break even 5, so he's got a bit more money to make. Matt Roberts, I'm really pissed off about going early on. So this guy, yeah, that was a bad miss. I mean, what's his break even now? Probably fucking low. He's just gone up another 50k, and his break even is 22, so it's pretty low. It's not terribly low, but he's just a good field option. And I wish I went Crouch over him, but hopefully Crouch can string together a couple of 110 pluses, and hopefully Roberts drops off, but the roll is seriously good. Seriously good. So that is annoying. Will Graham 61 as well. I forgot to touch on. That's okay. Like I said, a smashing for these Gold Coast rookies they didn't even do that bad in a beatdown like that. I'm pretty happy with it, if I'm being honest. So, yep. Moving on to the rucks. So obviously Gawn did not play, and Grundy 158 U-Goat. I'm so happy I held him. Man, you know what? It's funny how things can change, because I have to say a thank you to Luke Beveridge, because I had Grundy and who was it? It was Grundy and Crouch, I think, yeah, for Merritt and Marshall. So I would have lost 100 points on, I think more than 100 points on that trade from Grundy to Marshall. Thank God Sanders was out or sub, and I had to trade Sanders instead, because that would have, oh, gee whiz. I know people did it, and I feel really sorry for them, because at the time of those trade periods, I think that was a really good move. And if I had the luxury to be able to do it, I would have done it. So it's one of those ones where you just get really bailed out and lucky that you have bigger problems in your team and you didn't do it, because, look, everything suggested Marshall was going to go big last week or this week, and it just didn't happen. And it just goes to show, like, you cannot predict everything in Supercoach. Like, obviously not everything, but I would say like 80% of it you can't predict. It's just crazy, this game. Like, we can only get so much right, and that's why, like, winning the 50k is literally like 70% luck, I think. Like, you need so much luck. Example, the pick of Heaney. Yes, it was a good pick, but there's no one out there that could have expected this pick to be this damaging to not own. No one. And, like, I know he didn't do amazing this week, but he's still averaging like 135 or 137 or something. Like, it's just mental to have a forward do that. Let alone a guy who's had his role played with for fucking feels like 7-8 years now, and never had that set midfield role. So, yeah, it's so much luck involved. So very unlucky for anyone that got Marshall. And I did say he was one of the best VC candidates, and I really do believe that. So there you go. Everyone can have a down game. Then we move on to the forward line, which, look, I'm pretty happy with the first four. Powell, I'm not really happy with. Flanders 110. Happy with him. 589, solid. Not amazing, but solid. Harley Reid, take a bow. You're a monster. Fuck, he was on -3 with a couple of minutes to go in that first quarter, and he finished the quarter on about 50 Supercoach. So, man, his points per touch must have been crazy this week. I think he had about 17 touches, 18 touches for 150, basically. That's insane. The kid is so good to watch. Like, West Coast a must-see almost because of this guy. Like, if he's playing this well, it's just like, it's so good to watch. Watching him and Yo and owning them is really, really fun. It's not fun watching Yo go off the ground 2 times a fucking quarter, but yeah, like, when they're on, they're really good. And Freo aren't a bad team. Like, I think West Coast have to be taken pretty seriously now, because Freo are a really respectable team. You know, people were saying top 4 maybe. And yeah, you gotta respect that win from West Coast, because yeah, I know they beat Richmond. People are like, whatever. I don't think Richmond are quite as bad as what people think, but to beat Freo, and they beat them really convincingly as well. It wasn't just like a close win either. So yeah, interesting stocks on West Coast. I don't think they're going to be a top 8 team, but I don't think they might be as bad as definitely not going to be as bad as North, I don't think. Charlie Comben, so Alistair Clarkson decided to fuck us all over and play him forward even though he looked quite good in the back line. I think he had the first 2 intercept marks of the game. So I was like, let's go. We're getting another 130 from Big Bad Combi. And he finished on fucking 55 and played forward for the whole second half. So fuck you, Clarko. Do I think he's a trade out? Probably not. But if he plays forward one more week, he's fucking gone. I don't care. I don't care if I just brought him in or not. Darcy, 49. I still trust him. It's one bad game. When you look at it, I know it's shit. 49 is very shit. But especially in a beatdown win as well. But look at it, 109, 54, 84, 82. So he's had, 2 bad games, 3 good games. So, yeah, I mean, it's not ideal fielding him. He's not someone you want to field for too many more weeks. But, it's not... I don't know. I don't know what to do with Darcy. Cabman 60, solid-ish, I guess. I think he'll struggle this week because he's going to get better defenders. Plays Brisbane, so he'll get... Harris Andrews will probably go to him because I don't think they're going to need to defend much. They got no Hogan. I mean, Riccardi, I guess. No Toby Green. Going to be a tough one for Cabin, I think, this week. So try and keep him on the bench. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. We have 1 boost remaining. I think we're going to use it. Let's go Zach Williams out. Nick Munn. And I have had a little play around. And when I say little, I've said this is literally like 2-3 minute play around with some trades. So McAuliffe there gives us 251k in the bank. Then if we go someone like, what's Cabin's break even? 36. All right, let's say Cabin, and we get in Biggie, and Biggie's not one I really want to go early on. Not early, but just get on in general. But look, if he gives us 1 price rise, which probably we can at least expect 1 or 2. If he scores 44, he makes 50k. So I'm going to bring him in for now. And what that does is it lets us go Carroll, who I think's completely dead for cash gen. No, we're not going to go Isaac Heaney. We're going to go round 6 summary. We're going to go average. And I think we're going to grab Sam Walsh. Now, we do have enough for Matt Rao, but I think we're going to play the value game here. We've been burnt by paying too much for some of these guys like Merritt and Tom Green. It's kind of hurt. So I think we're going to go slightly more value with Sam Walsh. Now, I know injury risk is a real thing, but at this point, we still have 24 trades. It's still a lot of trades, and we don't have that many more upgrades to do. So if we look at it, we've got, 1, 2, and then I don't know about the forward line. Let's just say 3, 4. I'm counting Reed as a keeper for now because I think he could be. 4 upgrades for 24 trades. We've got more than enough to do some sidewayses like Sam Walsh to a Took or a Sam Walsh to a Dawson. Another option is getting Dawson. I have thought about it, but I think I want to see 1 more week, and I know he does play North this week. So if he is going to go big, it's probably this game. He's gone 102, 145, and 134 against him in his last 3. Then he plays Port and Brisbane, so slightly harder, but he has got proven scoring against them, both these teams. And then after that, he's got Collingwood, West Coast, Hawthorn, Richmond. That's very nice. Very nice draw there. Yes, he could cop McGuinness, I guess, but West Coast won't tag, Richmond won't tag. That's 2 probably 130, 140 games for Dawson, and we know he's got a big ceiling, so it could even be bigger. So look, I think if you are keen on him this week or next week, no later. I personally, just would like to see a little bit more form. I don't like jumping on premiums after 1 game, but considering how bad he's been in every other game, and I would like to see how Crouch I want to see him have a really good score with Crouch in the team. And I don't know if Crouch really affects him because it shouldn't. It shouldn't affect him at all. Yes, he might lose a bit of CBAs, but from my eye test, what I saw, and heat maps could tell a completely different story, but from what I saw on the weekend is when the ball wasn't at stoppage, and sort of play was floating around, he was going backline when he was floating instead of forward line. Now, I saw him always go forward early on in this season. And I didn't watch him super closely, but from when I did pay attention, he was going forward, and I think him changing that, tactic and going to backline and playing that intercept role is what really helped him this week. And obviously was much more efficient than past weeks, but that's my opinion why he scored better. Does he keep doing that? I don't know. So, I'd like to see another game, especially with Matt Crouch in the team, because it does affect that midfield split quite significantly. And I would like to see Isaac Heaney and see how his CBAs looked today. I think they should still be fine. So, 74%. So, still really high. Let's see what happens when Luke Parker comes into the team. And let's see what Merritt's, because Merritt's must have been low. 60, so it wasn't terribly low, but it wasn't the usual 80 that he has. So there you go. Wouldn't be worried about Merritt. But yeah, so I think they're the trades I'll go with. It means I need one more midfielder, and obviously Crouch will probably have to go eventually, but that'll be the last thing I plan on doing. Backline doesn't need to be touched. One thing I will consider doing is getting Tom Stewart. So Stewart has to be on everyone's radar because 538k with a break even of 137. He's going to miss this week. But after he plays and hopefully gets like a 110, we might be able to get him for like 510-ish. That's so cheap for this guy's caliber. And I'm very interested in this pick. One annoying thing is he does have that round 14 bye, which is not ideal. As you guys can see, my team is pretty chalked in that bye. But I don't think you can afford to wait for him. That's the problem. So, and that's another thing about Walsh is he has that bye as well. So when's Adelaide's bye? It must be 15. Shit, that changes a lot, to be honest. That's kind of made me want to go Dawson. Walsh or Dawson? Walsh or Dawson? I mean, Walsh's CBAs must have been pretty high, right? Oh, yeah, 83%. Yeah, okay, so he's playing pure inside mid. I think Walsh, even though he does have that bad bye, but we got all week to think about it. Petrarca's another good option this week, playing Richmond. We know how weak their midfield is at the moment, undermanned. So that's not a bad shout either. Look, Zorko is one I'm tempted by, but I think I'll get him last. I think he'll be my last upgrade. Yes, I might have to pay a bit more for him. What's his 3-round average of 114? I mean, maybe we get him this week. I don't know. His last four, 127, 96, 116, 130. And the beauty of it is he has forward status, so he would get a forward rookie off the field. Thing is, who do we trust? Do we trust Garcia, Wilson, or Darcy? I mean, Darcy's averaging 20 more points than them. So, it's an interesting one. Common's another one that I'm not really too keen on fielding. Want to try and get as many North players out of my team as soon as possible, because, yeah, at the end of the day, they're just not it. They're not cutting it. People are trading People are trading Tom Green. Yep, fair enough. Fuck him. Dawson, yep. Riley Garcia. It's another one I'd be a little bit keen to go on. I think he scored 89 or something first game for the year. So, yeah, it looked really good as well. So, we'll keep an eye on him, see what he gets named. But, fuck, those Bulldogs players. Luke Beveridge is a toxic fucking coach he is. Vice captain captains. Let's have a quick look. I think Merritt's a good VC option. Or gone into Merritt. I think I'll do that. Who's Bond play? Freo at Optus. Does he cop a tag? 114, 182. 182 last time we played at Optus. Probably has to be Bond. Yeah, I think Gorn will go big anyway. But, I mean, would you chuck Grundy in there against Hawthorn? I thought Grundy would struggle this week against Wits. Fucking pumped out at 160. Dacos, not a bad shout either. There's a lot of options. It's nice to have full teams. I think a lot of people won't get as bailed out now. So, overall, my team, I'm pretty happy with it. Like, obviously, Tom Green is one that's pissing me off. But, forward line's chalked. So, I need Heaney. I need Zorko. I think we can field Graham. I know he didn't score that well, but I think we can field him for quite some time. So now that we've got Walsh, obviously looking at Tom Stewart, keeping an eye on him, and I think just gradually building that forward line up so we can get Comben and Darcy to Heaney and Zorko. It's going to be hard to get someone like Heaney with no boost now. It's going to have to be a two-week plan to get someone like him. Double down, and then you have to go up and then down. So that's annoying. I wish we had more boost, but we don't. And I am playing aggressively, as you guys can see. That's why I have no boost left. And while my team's pretty decent structurally. So yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Probably my longest video ever, to be honest. So if you've stayed this long, thank you for watching. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, please drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.